Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. You also find a way to have discussions about fights that are on the horizon and to try to determine, depending on who's fighting, who's better. Now, Crawford and Bivol, we just had a live this morning. I walked for about an hour and 20 minutes, I think it's close to 4,000 people tuned into that live. That's what the total viewers, right? It's a lot of damn people for my lives. Anyway, it lets you know there's an interest in Terrence Crawford, Madrimov, Bivol, Bertabiev. But trying to understand who's better between Crawford and Bivol, there's mixed opinions. Some people feel it's unfair to compare Crawford and Bivol. One guy is just 175 pounds, the other guy is 147, bubbling up to 154. They think it's weird to even make a comparison, but I think it's fair to talk about Crawford and talk about Bivol because they have something in common. And that thing in common is a monster that's lurking at 154 and going to be getting in the ring with Terrence Crawford this weekend by the name of Madrimov. Now, we can talk about combination punching because I think that is what's necessary to control an animal like Madrimov, kind of like what Bivol had to do to control an animal like Canelo Alvarez. Who throws better combinations, Crawford or Bivol? Again, it's opinionated, right? It's very subjective. I personally think Bivol puts them together better than Crawford, but Crawford isn't a guy who's just going to throw combination after combination after combination. Crawford will kind of jab, he may single shot you, he may counter punch you, he may throw the straight left, then bring the right hook behind it, but he's not necessarily throwing an 8, 9, 10 punch combination. If Crawford gets you hurt, then that's when you'll see him open up and combination punch with all power shots looking to get you out of there. Where Bivol, on the other hand, will throw a 6, 7, 8 punch combination, more of a flurry, consistently throughout the fight, just to make you respect his hands and to control you. And then if he gets you hurt, then you'll see him really explode and put power behind those shots. A lot of Bivol shots aren't there to hurt you necessarily. It's to more sting you. I'm not going to say he can coochie-coo you, but if I'm comparing his combinations when he unloads and Crawford's when he unloads, Crawford's throwing to hurt you, Bivol's throwing to coochie-coo you. Now, as far as Crawford and Bivol and the better resume, Bivol, when I think about Bivol and I say, okay, who has he fought? Canelo, outside of that. Who? Joe Smith? We got to be real here. But it's not his fault. The guys he's fighting are guys who are ranked in the top 10. He's beating them. So you got to give him credit. You don't just get thrown into the top 10. Most fighters don't. Just kind of, by accident. A lot of them end up there because they earn those positions, and the other ones, it's a secret society. The promoters pay the sanctioning bodies under the table, and they get their guys moved up in the rankings, right? And what I'm telling you is true. It's how it works. But for Terrence Crawford's resume, arguably, Terrence Crawford has the better resume. And some people still question Crawford's resume. But that doesn't mean Crawford's a better fighter than Bivol. If Crawford and Bivol were in the same weight class, right? Same weight class. Who do you think wins? With everything Bivol brings to the table, Crawford brings to the table, but in the same weight class, who you got winning that fight? I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Because Bivol does amazing things, and his IQ is on point, and it's not easy to get in there and land and try to punish a guy like Bivol unless you catch him slipping. Crawford, same thing. It's a difficult one to call. But the bottom line is, I think with Crawford this weekend against Madrimov, we're going to find out just what the upside is on Terrence Crawford as far as moving up in weights. Because the word on the street is Madrimov destroyed Bivol in sparring. Now, I'm going to tell you, I think Bivol was just in there getting work. I don't think he was in there and they were going a toe-to-toe battle and fighting to the death. No, I think he was just in there. These are the things I do bad. These are the things I want to try. And Bivol, this is what Canelo can do. I need you to emulate it. And Madrimov, these are the things Canelo does. I need you to emulate it. And Madrimov went in there and he was doing what he had to until Bivol tightened up. And of course, whatever they did worked, because look at how Bivol went out there and just embarrassed Canelo. So don't get it twisted for a second that Madrimov, in my opinion, is a better fighter than Bivol. Sparring. But at the same time, Crawford gets in here in a fight with Madrimov, and if he makes it look easy, that's going to say a whole lot about Crawford. A whole lot about him. But if Madrimov comes in here, and even if Crawford wins, makes Crawford struggle and hurts him, especially if he drops him, that's going to be a telltale sign of whether Crawford should even mess with Canelo. Because that means that more than likely, and styles make fights, every fighter's different, but more than likely, he probably won't be able to handle Canelo. And if Madrimov comes out here and he just totally tranquilizes Bud, well, then we got to look at what Madrimov's going to do next. Because I don't think there's anybody at 154 that can mess with Madrimov. Not just if he comes out here and beats Bud. I mean, even right now, outside of Bud, I'm not really seeing it. But we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Crawford, Bivol, who's better? I don't know. We can argue that till we're blue in the face. I think they're both exceptional fighters, boxer, punchers. I think Bud has a little more sting on his shots. Both of their reach is about the same, which is weird, seeing the height difference. But the bottom line is a mentality. And Bivol has something in him. Like, he's going to fight back. He's not going to just sit there and accept defeat. And Crawford has that too. So if you ask me who's better, I don't know. I think a 50-50 in my opinion. If they were at the same weight, who would win? I don't know. I think it may end up in a draw. But if somebody gets hurt, I think Crawford would knock him out. I think Crawford is more of a finisher. Look, Crawford has a 9-10 fight KO streak going on, looking to have his 11th consecutive knockout. I mean, there's a reason for that. Bivol just picked up a knockout in his last fight, which was a kind of jokey knockout, but he got a knockout. But at the end of the day, Crawford has more sting in his shots, but Bivol knows just what to do to make sure those guys who can crack don't get close enough to him to touch him up and tranquilize him. That being said, Crawford-Bivol would be an interesting fight, but let's see if Crawford can get through Madrimov and if Crawford really is ready for a guy like Canelo. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.